Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm gonna talk about some anime that I watched recently, maybe the last 2 or 3 months. I started watching anime again in the year 2023 because my husband persuaded me to watch anime again because I used to watch a lot of anime back in the early 2000s, starting from my elementary days till high school. Then after that, I stopped watching, and then 15 years later or 14 years later, started watching anime. So I'm gonna start with Hell's Paradise. Usually I would mention like anime that I watched recently in my community tab, but Lizzie kind of like gave me an idea to talk about anime that I currently watch, or because I know this channel is mostly manga or anime haul, but you know what? Behind the scene, I also watch anime. And so I want to start talking about anime that I watch. And we're going to start with the first anime, and this one's called Hell's Paradise. It's a big fantasy. I find it very gory. It has 12 episodes, so far there's only one season. However, second season was announced and it's going to be released next year, and you can watch this at Netflix. I'm not sure if this is available at Crunchyroll. Now we have our main character Gabimaru and then Sajiri. Gabimaru, I think he's like a ninja assassin. Of course, he gets caught for his crime. And then next to Gabimaru, she's like an Asayamon, an executioner who beheaded criminals. And however, Gabimaru is giving another chance to gain freedom by sending a bunch of criminals like him to go to this island to find the elixirs of light. So every criminal has an Asayamon just to make sure they do their job and get back with the elixir of life. Once they reach the island, at first it looks so pretty and just out of this world. However, once they got into the island, suddenly big monsters start coming out and kill the criminals one by one, including with their Asayamon. At first I was like, what the heck is going on? This is something that I didn't expect, because I got to watch this anime without even knowing what the story is about. And so I found this anime very fast paced, because some parts gets cut off and just go directly what happened afterwards. And of course, Gabimaru and Sajiri being partner, of course they survived throughout the show. However, the rest, or only a few, were left. I was just in shock, because like, what the heck? They just suddenly get killed instantly, and oh my god, who's left? And the thing is, nobody can leave this island, like nobody, because before all these criminals were sent this island, they would send their own soldiers and they would never ever come back. But however, there was one that was survived, but he came back kind of dead, or he was not himself, and he was overgrown with flowers and plants. So in this island, the flowers and plants are not very normal, because we get to find out later on that this island has been an island full of experiments. Besides Gabimaru and Sajiri and whoever was left in the island, they also find out that they have a guardians on this island called the Tensen. I think there's about 5 to 6 of them. And Gabimaru also meet a little girl who's supposed to be part of the Tensen. However, she wanted to leave that group because their history is very disturbing, and whatever they're doing is very also disturbing. And they found out that she also have a bunch of special power, because all the guardians have special power, because their job is basically not let anyone leave the island. And so there's a big huge fight with the other Tensen, and their main goal is to really just to leave the island and find answers, and also find the elixir of life. However, they found the truth about the elixir of life, that whether if it's does exist or not. So I find this anime not so bad, even though there's a lot of gory. It's really fast paced. It just makes you want to continue watching. I'm also curious about the island, because I did mention that this island has a history of experiment, and I want to know who was in charge of the experiment and how everything started, because they also find out later on that there's actually used to be a village. And a little hint, the villagers may be the monster, and got turned to a monster because they were probably experiment on something else. And so I definitely recommend this, because it's very short. It's only 12 episodes. However, the next season is not going to be until next year. So I really enjoyed this anime. Even my husband liked it, even though at first I was in shock I definitely recommend it. Okay, so what we have next is an anime called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's another big fantasy, an isekai. So we have our main character, Rimuru. Now, when he was reincarnated, he started as a slime. Then slowly he gains more power because one of his special power is to kind of swallow up anything that he wants. And one of the characters that he swallowed was a human, and then he transitioned from slime to a human. Now that took about like 8 episodes because the whole time he was just a slime. So when he was reincarnated as a slime, he meets all different kind of monster from dragons, goblins, ogres, and orcs because his main goals is to have all the monsters and human to get along in one nation. So this isekai is all about world building because Rimuru wants to build his own nation where the monsters and human can live together. However, outside of his nation, or it's called the Forest of Jura, there are folks outside that disagree with his belief, and so there are times that he does encounter a few fights from other nation and even some demon lords. And of course, we're gonna have some demon lord when it comes to an isekai anime. But when it comes to the demon lord of this isekai anime, they have their own nation. They're kind of like living quietly unless they get provoked by another demon lord or other enemies. And so it's kind of quite interesting anime because it's all about like just having a peaceful time. However, if they encounter an enemy, of course they're gonna attack. So I find this anime pretty nice, to be honest. It's not your typical isekai where our main character's main goal is to kill demon lords, but in this isekai there's about like 7 to 8 demon lords. And Rimuru, I don't want to give too much like spoiler or information. I mean, there's already 3 seasons of this anime, and I think 1 movie and a bunch of side story. And this is based from a light novel to a manga, so it's been a long coming anime for sure. In other words, what I was trying to say is Rimuru eventually become a demon lord in order to save his people, and one of the main thing is to resurrect his people because there was a certain country that wanted to get into a war with him, and yeah, he had no choice but to become one. And of course he meets other demon lord, and one of them is Ramirez. I love her so much. She's so cute and adorable, and she's a fair. And so this anime is really, really good. I definitely recommend it. There's about 3 seasons, of course, so it might take a while to finish it, but my husband and I really love it, so we kind of just breezed through it. And we're also trying to finish one of the side story because there's like a bunch of them. I also want to mention this because I don't want to just give too much positive feedback from anime, but when it comes to this anime, there's gonna be a lot of like conversational, so there are some parts that can be boring because when you're trying to build a nation, of course you're going to come out with a lot of plans, so there's going to be a lot of conversational. And so that's the only negative part about this anime, because it can get boring because they just have so much plans. Besides from that, there's another thing that I want to point out, because Rimuru, he has a way of saying things. He kind of has a slang that you probably won't hear nowadays, and so the moment we heard it, we were like, what the heck? It's the thing that we would say back in the days, but now you don't hear that much because of the new generation. And so overall, really nice isekai anime, definitely recommend it. I can't wait for the next season. All right, let's keep going. So the last 2 anime were big fantasy, so this time I'm going to talk about some sports anime. So this one's called Skate the Infinity. We have our 2 main characters, Reki and Langa. Langa is originally from Canada. However, him and his mom had to move to Okinawa to be closer with the relatives because his father passed away. And he used to do snowboarding, however, he stopped and kind of lost interest on other things until he met Reki. So Reki introduced Langa all about skateboarding, and these two become really, really good friends, and Langa is having a good time. However, at first, he had a hard time with skateboarding because there's no strap, and so Reki decided to make him a specialty board with a strap to his feet, but eventually he didn't need it because he got the hang of it. And so this show is all about having a good time. I find it very entertainment and very funny because there's other characters in the show that just seem so funny, and the show does get very competitive because there's a guy named Adam. He's very admired by Langa's skills and all he cares about Langa. And yes, the show gets very competitive because of Adam. He wants to prove to everybody that he's the best of the best, but until Langa decided to prove to him that it's not all about competition, it's just having a good time. And then eventually these two have their moment where their friendship kind of start to fall apart, but then it's because Reki feel like he's very behind with everything because Langa is very skillful and he's being praised by his skills. But other than that, these two does make up and stay good friends until the very end. Of course, I'm gonna recommend this anime because it's just full of fun. I actually breezed through watching this anime and even my husband enjoyed it, which I was kind of shocked because I thought he may not like it because there's a lot of bromance. But yeah, I was shocked that he really enjoyed it. So definitely check it out. There's only 12 episodes and there's an OVA coming out this summer. Now this next one is called Yuri on Ice. I don't have any props because I'm still trying to get some merch from that anime. Now it has only 12 episodes. I watched it on Crunchyroll. I've heard of Yuri because there was supposed to be a movie and it got canceled, and I keep seeing it on my TikTok feed, so I decided to give it a try. And I really like it a lot because I used to watch a lot of figure skating back in the days only during Olympic season. So we have our main character named Yuri from Japan. There's also another character named Yuri from Russia, but they decided to call him Yurio. I actually like Yurio because he's super funny. And then along the way, Yuri meets Victor because Victor decided to visit Japan and meet Yuri. It is because Yuri one day made a video of recreating his dance, and I guess Victor was super impressed and wanted to meet Yuri. And well, they wanted to work together because Yuri has been struggling with his figure skating career. Working with Victor has helped him gain confidence and get better with his figure skating because Victor wins a lot of championships around the world. And with his help, he realized that he has the potential to get better and maybe one day he can win the world champion. So this anime is all about figure skating. There's a lot of competition. He goes to all different countries just so that way he can get to the world champion. It's very competitive because, you know, there's a lot of great figure skating out there. And what I like about this anime is that even though he's the main character, you would think that he would win every single tournament, but he didn't. I like that because it's very unpredictable. It's kind of fair, and I like it. And this anime has a lot of character development, and each character has its unique background, story, and why they love figure skating in the first place. And I definitely recommend it. Just give it a try. And the thing about this also is that every single player, when they perform, they will show their full performance, and I like that because they don't skip around, and the animation is really great because, you know, figure skating has a lot of twirling and moving around. I hope that makes sense. And this is just wishful thinking. Hopefully we'll have the second season that we want because the story has more potential and we want more, of course. And at the end of the first season, after the world champion, Yuri feels like Victor should go back to figure skating because Yuri feels like he doesn't want to hold Victor because he can see that Victor really loves figure skating and maybe one day they will compete one another, and that is why we need that second season. And I'm so glad I watched Yuri on Ice because I want to like venture out, not watch the same thing over and over. And yeah, it was nice and refreshing to see something different. Okay, so let's keep going. I still have a bunch of other anime that I want to talk about. Now this will be the last sports anime, and this one's called Free. But in this anime, every season has different titles. So Free something, Free something, Free something. It has a total of 3 seasons, 1 movie. They have other movies, but it's only a recap from every season. And then their final season has 2 movies. This anime called Free is really fun to watch. It's all about swimming. There's a lot of character development and a little bit of backstory of each character and why they love swimming. So I stumbled this anime because it's another anime that I keep seeing on my feed on TikTok, and the ending song was super catchy, and I was kind of curious, like, who are these guys? And so you got four main characters. Well, there's a lot of characters in this anime, but you have like 4 to 5 main characters. They're all like childhood friend except for one, because this other one they met in high school. So we have our main character Haru, Makoto, Nagisa, and Rin, and later on we also get to meet Ray. Ray is originally a track and field guy. Then, however, Nagisa needed a fourth member in their high school in order to run a swimming club, and so he's been trying to persuade Ray to join the swimming club, and finally Ray decided to join. When it comes to Rin, he moved to Australia in his middle school to get a better coaching when it comes to swimming. And after that, he came back to Japan and his whole attitude changed. He was kind of pushing everybody, but eventually they found out what was going on with him and now they all become friends. And so this anime has a lot of backstory, but down the line, it all makes sense. And we'll also meet other characters from other middle school or high school. So the first season, it talks about their high school and how they started the swimming club. And then the second season, they're still in high school but in their third year, but now they have to think about what they want to do after high school, whether they want to continue with swimming or not. And the third season, it's all about Haru and Makoto being in college, while Nagisa and Ray is still in their third year because they're a year younger. And when I mentioned there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of characters, because in the first movie, that one's more focused on Makoto's and Haru's time in middle school, and they meet other bunch of boys who also love swimming, and eventually they kind of drift apart because two of them move, and then they met again in college, and it all makes sense, to be honest. And there was a time where one character was acting like Rin, but eventually they all found out why, and now they all become friends. It's just really nice friendship. I really enjoy watching this anime. When I had my back problem, that's all I did, watch this anime, because it was just so fun to watch, and it feels like a fast pace to me. It didn't feel slow, even though there's a lot of backstory. Overall, this is just another anime with a lot of character development. There's a lot of figuring out what they want to do with their swimming and improving their skills. And it's also very competitive because they want to get that title or that certain position, especially getting to the top and getting an invitation to compete in the world. And so check it out if you can at Crunchyroll. Now the last two movie, which is the final season, there's no dub, it's just sub, because I've been watching it dub and then I noticed the last two movie has no dub. I think there was something going on with the whole rights thing, and so you know what, it was fine. Yes, I do watch dub and sub, it don't matter, just do whatever you want, because there's always a debate which one is better. For me, it is what it is. And so check it out because it's really a fun anime to watch. In case you're wondering, the only English manga that's available to read is Hell's Paradise and That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Now, the last three sports anime that I mentioned, I don't think they have an English manga, because I check it out. Maybe they have a Japanese manga, but I'm not sure if they even have a manga online for it. And so, okay, I have a mystery anime that I'm going to talk about. The first one is Moriarty the Patriot. I did read the manga. When it comes to the anime, it's a little bit different. I feel like they tone it down when it comes to the gory part, because the manga was more brutal and the anime was more lenient, if that makes sense. And so we have our three main characters, William, Louise, and James. They're brothers, however, they're not really like blood related brothers. And their main goal is to bring down all this nobility who commits crime, especially using lower class as their fun to play. I don't want to say too much. It's very disturbing. That is why the anime didn't bring too much when it comes from the manga. It was more subtle, not so brutal. And of course, we can't forget about Sherlock Holmes. They want to use Sherlock Holmes to get their crimes out there, just to show people that these nobilities doesn't have any good deed in their hands, and Sherlock's job is to solve the mystery, basically. Overall, the anime is not bad. Now, I do watch it in dub, and so they have that English British action. I really don't mind. I think it's super cool because I'm so just used to watching American English. Aside from that, when it comes to the manga versus anime, the anime is still pretty good. even though they sort of skip around. However, even though they skip around, they will continue that part to the next episode. Now, I only watched the first 12 because that's where I start from the manga, and so there's a total of 24 episodes, just one season so far. Overall, I really like it. It is because, it's mystery. There's a little bit fun of it because Sherlock Holmes has a lot of quirkiness. And when it comes to the three brothers, they really take this seriously because they really want to bring down all this nobility who commits crime because they want to change the whole society. So this next mystery anime, this one's called Ran Kamonohashi. I always mention Ran Kamonohashi on my reading log videos. So we got our two main character, Ran Kamonohashi, and his part name Toto. They actually call him Toto, but his full name is Ishiki Toto Maro. He's actually a police detective. One day he was struggling and he was recommended to see Ron because he has history of good detective. However, something happened 5 years ago that Ron couldn't do any deduction because he was accused of killing certain members, and ever since then he hasn't done any detective. But with the help of Ishiki and kind of influenced Ron to get back on his feet, he decided to help Ishiki with all his detective work. However, he can't say it out loud, so he basically gave all his information to Toto, so this way Toto can reveal the whole mystery. I think the anime is so underrated. There's already 2 seasons, so a total of 24 episodes. Even the manga is so underrated. However, you can only read the manga online. And I definitely recommend this anime. It's so much fun. And Ron is just so eccentric. He's so full of entertainment, as well as Toto. They just work together so well. I love the dynamic. This duo are just so fun to watch. They just go all this different adventure to solve mystery. And we also get to learn more about Ron, about his background, where he came from. And not to mention, he has a special power. And apparently he has a blood of Holmes and Moriarty, which I kind of mentioned prior. And yeah, definitely recommend this anime. Give it a try because it's just so underrated. Now, that was the only 2 mystery anime. I was going to talk about Link Click, but it's not just a mystery. Now, this is an anime. They call it Danhua for Chinese anime. Our main character, Lu Guan and Xiao Xiaoxi. Sorry, hopefully I pronounced that right. It's a bit of mystery, fantasy. These two have special power to travel back in time and the future, but so far they've been travel back in time, and so they have like special requests from certain client trying to go back to the past to get some certain hints and solve some mystery about certain things that a client would want. So far, they already have 3 seasons. Now, the first 2 seasons just focus about them, getting clients and do some special requests. However, on the second season, it gets darker and darker, and we get to meet another character with a special power. And I find the second season more sad. But the third season, it's actually a prequel. That one only has 6 episodes because the first 2 seasons had about 11 to 12, so the third season is pretty short. However, we get to learn more about how Chen Xiaoxi got his power. And yeah, I don't want to confuse you guys, but I definitely recommend this Danhua because it's so underrated. It's so good. The animation is amazing. When it comes to Lu Guang and Chang Xiaoxi, their dynamic is really nice. Thank God for Paul Souls for recommending this, and ever since then, I'm obsessed. So definitely check it out. I think you can only watch this on Crunchyroll. Before I end this video, I do want to talk about one more anime. It's a big fantasy called Sayuki Reload. This is actually season 5 because there's actually 4 other seasons. However, I can't find the other 4 seasons is because I watched this on Crunchyroll and they only have the Sayuki Reload, which has 13 episodes. That is why it didn't make sense to me when I started watching. However, they did have like a little backstory of where these 4 characters came from. So we have our 4 main characters, Ogoko, Hakai, Goju, and Sanzo. Sanzo is a priest and he holds this certain script, and there's another script that's held by another priest. And these demons that they're fighting along their journey, it's been looking for these scripts because they're trying to reincarnate certain demon. And so along the way, they face a lot of demons and fight demons, of course. But it has an interesting setting, and even their character design, like it feels not very modern. However, in the anime, they drive a car, they have weapons, and some of the characters has other abilities. And so it has like a mix of modern and big fantasy in my opinion, and it mostly takes in the mountains, and that is why their attire is very different. And so it's a very action packed anime. I find it quite entertaining and funny. So I stumbled this anime because of a clip I saw on TikTok. The thing that catch my eye was the dub acting because they sound so familiar, and I decided to watch it, and you know what? I enjoyed it a lot. Favorite character is Goku because he's just so funny and he loves to eat. And I think my favorite line was, "Do you guys have soda?" Which again, it was super surprising how it's very modernized, but then it feels like it's not modern, if that makes sense. And since I can't find the other four season, I decided to get the manga. So we get the first 9 volumes that's called Sayuki, and then there's another set of 9 or 8 that's called Sayuki Reload. So I can't wait to read those so that way I can learn more about the story, and I definitely recommend it. You can only watch it at Crunchyroll, I believe, unless if you guys know where I can watch the other 4 seasons, because I'm really curious about the whole storyline. And yeah, definitely check it out if you can. And that concludes all the anime that I watched and finished recently, except Moriarty the Patriot, because I still need to watch the rest of the 12 episodes. Aside from that, I've been also watching like some of the winter season anime that's been ongoing, like Sakamoto Days, Apothecary Diaries, I Therapy Teacher at Ghoul School. Please watch that because that's so underrated. It's very funny and a big fantasy. Another one is Hanako-kun, as well as ReZero. And I can't wait for spring lineup because I think everyone or a few of us been waiting for the 3rd season, and that is Fire Force. Can't wait because I actually finished reading the manga last year. I definitely enjoyed it a lot, so I can't wait for that to get animated. And also Windbreaker, I'm also looking forward for Windbreaker. And there's another Danhua that's gonna come out called To Be Hero X. Saw the trailer, looks super good because Danhua's animation is always amazing. I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you think, and also let me know what have you been watching. If you have any recommendation, please let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.